Hello everyone, this is part 5 of What If Naruto Found His Family, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto had been traveling for about 4 hours now when it happened. He landed on a tree branch he was jumping to when it snapped and he started to fall toward the ground. He thought, catch me, and nothing happened and it was too late as he hit the ground hard and rolled. Pissed off he screams, why did you not catch me? And all the trees and grass suddenly shift and a scream was heard. Naruto blinked and saw a creature fall out of a tree and hit the ground hard. Naruto started walking toward the creature and noticed it looked like a Venus flytrap with a man in the middle except he had burns and bee all over his body. The man looked at Naruto and said, stay back, don't come any closer, as he tried to get away from Naruto. Jiraiya appeared and said, stop Naruto, H's with Atsuki. Naruto remembered that name and got mad again and suddenly the man screamed and more burns covered his body causing Naruto to forget his madness. The man said, please stop doing that. Jiraiya acted all innocent and asked, what are we doing? As a child who knew he was in trouble would do. The man said, his chakra, it's poison to me and all plants. Naruto blinked and said, what? Jiraiya said, H is right Naruto, I will explain later. Don't get mad but I want you to walk toward him slowly. Naruto nodded and started to walk and nothing happened. Naruto blinked and the man said, you damn demon. Naruto narrowed his eyes and suddenly the man screamed and Naruto jumped back and Jiraiya laughed and said, so tell me what does Atsuki want with the tailed demons? The man said, I want talk. Jiraiya said, Naruto, he called Tenten a slut. Naruto was pissed and the man screamed as more burns appeared on his body. Jiraiya asked, what was that? The man panted and said, to control the world and bring about world peace. We want to bankrupt all the other nations and then stop all wars. Jiraiya asked, how do you use the demons? Naruto watched and the man looked around and Naruto got angry for the guy trying to escape and the man screamed again and said, alright, we have a statue that is made from some special wood that can neutralize demon chakra and the rings we have make it where we can use them like the vessels could. Please stop. Naruto asked, why are you here? The man said, I was following weird plant chakra I felt. Jiraiya asked, who is your leader? The man said, Pain, his name is Pain. Naruto walked forward and said, what's your name? The man said, Zetsu. Naruto pulled out his sword and Zetsu in half and said, your lettuce now. He then flicked his wrist and shot the bee off of it and looked at the man before he reached and grabbed the ring off his hand and put it on his finger. Jiraiya said, you could have let him live. Naruto said, no, I was told that every enemy that I let get away will be twice as strong the next time I face him so I figured end him before he comes for me and my family. So what's going on? Jiraiya said, after we got back from Wave the Hokage got a report about a man who had a vine attack him in town. When Yamato and I went to check it out the vine was completely no life at all in it. Most plants even after they still have chakra moving in them for years if the plant was say a tree where grass lasts only a few months. Naruto nods and said, it's something to do with the cells that carry oxygen and other gases as well as nutrients. Jiraiya nodded and said, Yamato and I figured it had something to do with your bloodline but we were not for sure. I sent a toad to look at the spot me and you fought and all the plants in that area are now. Naruto was wide-eyed and said, my bloodline them. Jiraiya said, yes and no. You notice how you got right next to Zetsu and nothing happened but then when you got mad something else happens. Naruto asked, what? Jiraiya said, Yamato said before he started to train you when you got mad you would accidentally draw on Kyuubi chakra. Now that your bloodline has fully awakened you are still drawing Kyuubi chakra but now it is not going to you but to your plants and them. Naruto asked, what does that mean for me exactly? Jiraiya looked around and Naruto followed his eyes and he noticed that all the trees and everything was starting to and he said, remember how you would send your chakra out and then come back with nature chakra? Naruto nods and Jiraiya said, when you are mad you are sending out Kyuubi chakra and still drawing nature chakra but after the plant loses all its nature chakra it can't handle the demon chakra and It is also why when you're mad you can control plants with thought, because basically it is your chakra in the plants and mutating the cells and making them to turn into vines, bamboo and other things when they should not be able to. Naruto asked, "So I can't use my bloodline?" Jiraiya said, "I never said that. Here." As he handed Naruto a seed and said, "Okay, channel your chakra and think of what you want that to do. It's a rose seed. Think about what a rose is like from your lessons and then allow it to alter based on that." Naruto thought a moment and suddenly the seed sprouted into a rose whip and he asked, "Okay, what now?" Jiraiya grabbed it and held it and asked, "Notice anything?" Naruto looked and said, "It's not S." Jiraiya nodded and said, "That's the way your bloodline should be used. Don't get mad and angry if you can keep from it, and if you are mad only use your bloodline for a defense. If you use it that way you will not only keep from the plants but also make it where you can pass what you learn to your kids since they won't have QB." Naruto nods and asked, "So why did you not tell me this sooner?" Jiraiya said, "We were not sure about it so I had to wait to see when you got mad Ajin. I was going to tell you after I got the report from the toad we left back with the bandits. When you actually used a jutsu even though you were mad it stayed, but after about 5 minutes the vines you had holding the nin down S and dissolved so the toad sat down on him." Naruto nods and said, "So no more using it like I did against you?" Jiraiya said, "I don't know, you might be able to do it if you find the right way, but doing it like you did when you were mad won't work. Okay, I want you to create some Kijibunshians and have them work on the Rasengan while you travel toward your next mission." Naruto nods and creates 1000 Kijibunshians and Jiraiya was wide-eyed and said, "Damn, so what's the others going to do since I only gave you 200 water balloons?" Naruto asked, "Do you have the other things needed for the other steps?" Jiraiya sighed and pulled out another scroll and said, "Inside are rubber balls, same thing as the first test. You need to work on popping this also and you need to be able to do both before you go to the last step." Naruto nods and hands out the water balloons and the rubber balls and asked, "You got anything else they can work on?" Jiraiya thought for a moment and said, "Yeah, I got a jutsu you can try. This jutsu will allow you to use your earth affinity. It's called Earth Style, Mudwave. You have to push your chakra into the ground and pull the earth back and then send it toward your enemy. Here are the handans." As he showed them to the clones who all nodded and went off to work. The real Naruto asked, "So what now?" Jiraiya said, "Simple, you have a mission to complete. Go." Naruto nods and jumps off toward the way he was going before, and Jiraiya walked over to the body and frowned as he looked at the man and said, "You're lucky Naruto that his bloodline makes him part plant, or you could have been S," as he pulls out a kunia and seals the head into a scroll. Naruto was running and stops for a moment and looks the mission scroll and read it. Ajin. Mission B rank escort mission. A client has asked for a ninja from Konoha to escort a guest to the wedding in the village called Kanku City. You are to go as a representative of your village and are not to fight unless you are physically assaulted or ordered by the employer. Naruto asked, "Why would they want us not to fight? I guess there's only one way to find out," as he headed toward the village. Tenten was sitting on the ground as soon it had called a break. One break in 8 hours to allow the kids to eat, and now they got one more break. She was covered in bruises as was Sakura. She sighed and said, "I bet Naruto-kun don't have it this hard." Sakura said, "I don't know, but I know one thing, they're the real demons." Tenten could only nod and said, "When this is over MK Konohamaru." Tsunade telling him that he would never be Hokage if he hit lightly was the wrong thing to say. I think he went from hitting ground balls to grand slams. Sakura could only nod as she rubbed a bruise and said, "What about her giving him all that candy during the break?" Tenten asked, "What next?" Tsunade walked up and said, "Next is the final challenge for the day. Oh Guy, are you ready?" Tenten paled and Guy appeared with 2 green spandex outfits and screamed, "Yes Chuand, if they stop before the sunsets then they have to wear these youthful outfits to regain their youthfulness until the Chunin exams." Tsunade nods and said, "Ready, set, go." Tenten and Sakura both paled and ran as fast as they could away with Guy behind them screaming about the flames of youth. The next day when Naruto arrived in Kanku City he soon found his way to the residence where he was to meet the client. He was a little stiff from sleeping in a tree but decided it would be better than spending money for a room. Money he really did not have a lot of. When he arrived he knocked and a woman opened the door and asked, "Can I help you?" Naruto said, "Yes, I was sent by Konoha." The woman said, "Oh yes, please come with me." Naruto nods and follows her into the building and soon into a room with 6 other people in it, and the first thing he notices is that they are all ninja from different village. The woman said, "What is your name, dear?" Naruto said, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." All the people in the room flinched and looked at him, and an Iwa nin said, "What was your name?" Naruto said, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." He asked, "Are you any relations to the Yellow Flash?" Naruto said, "He was my father, and you are," trying not to act hostile even though he felt ki coming from the man, and he silently thanked Yamato for teaching him how to ignore it. The man said, "My name is Bradis." Naruto said, "Pleasure," remembering his lessons on diplomacy as well as the books from the library. He then looked at everyone in the room and saw a girl with a cloud height who felt different to him and said, "So what's your name, miss?" She said, "Yugito," in a neutral voice. Naruto asked, "So what are we here for exactly?" to everyone in the room. A blonde-haired girl with a sand height said, "We don't know yet." Temari, as she held out her hand. Naruto did a formal bow and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you." Just then the door opened and our old man walked in and said, "Okay, now that everyone is here I can explain what's going on. This village has had a civil war going on for the last 2 years. As the leader of the village I was able to get the 2 parties to agree to a truce and have agreed for the eldest children of the 2 faction leaders to marry, however they did not do it without wanting a few things they thought would be impossible, and you are the last thing they want. They wanted someone from all 7 major nations and they have to walk down the aisle together in groups of 2. That is why I requested a ninja from each of your villages. I don't care how you escort each other down the aisle, but I don't want any fighting. You have 10 minutes. And he turned and left. Naruto looked around and Bradis turned to the grass nin and said, "You're with me." The grass nin asked, "Why is that?" Bradis said, "If I am near the Konoha or Suna nin I will K them, and I don't want to be by the demon whore. They should K all you Jinchurikis and be done with it." The rain nin said, "Same for me," as he stood by Bradis. Yugito flinched at what Bradis called her and Naruto narrowed his eyes, and the mist nin asked, "Uzumaki, that's an unusual name. Where did you get it?" Naruto said, "It's my mother's maiden name." The mist nin said, "Really, is she from Konoha originally?" Naruto said, "Perhaps she was, but I don't know her as I never really got to know her in the short time we had together," as he narrowed his eyes. The mist nin said, "I will walk with you also, Bradis," shooting a glance at Naruto. Mist never liked the Yondaime, and the name Uzumaki made him remember something about someone the Mizukage wanted K, but he could not remember what. Naruto said, "Then if the 2 lovely ladies don't have any objections I will walk you both. Besides, I can tell the difference between a prisoner and a prison," as he glanced at Yugito who had wide eyes. Temari said, "No objection from me," knowing what he was referring to but also a little nervous. Yugito said, "None here also," wondering why he acted like that. Just then the man who hired them came in and asked, "Are you all ready?" Naruto nods and held up his arms, and both ladies linked arms with him. He then followed the client to the wedding hall, and after a small simple ceremony the 2 heirs were married and the peace treaty was signed. The client came over and said, "Thank you Ajin, and if you would please make sure to leave the village before anything happens." Naruto nods and turned to leave when Yugito grabbed him and asked, "Why did you not act like most when he called me a demon whore and you made reference to me being a Jinchuriki?" Naruto glanced around and said, "I guess I know the pain, as I am a prison also for a prisoner," as he turned and started to leave as her eyes got wide. Temari, who was close by, heard him and was also wide-eyed. When Naruto walked outside, a battle toad was standing there with a scroll and Naruto took it inside. A rank item recovery. A former missing nin of Konoha Aoi Rokusho is now a Junin of Rain. Your mission is to recover the item he stole when he defected. The legendary Raijin sword of the Nadaime Hokage. He was reported to be in the general area of Kanku City with a couple other Rain nin. Your mission is to take back the sword at all cost and if possible capture or KAOI. Known to be an expert at T. Naruto sighed and the toad said, "Jiraiya-sama said for the last step of that jutsu you are to put both step 1 and step 2 together without blowing yourself up and without popping the balloons," as he hands another scroll. Naruto glances at the Rain nin who is there and sees that he is not the man in the picture included. He turns and leaves even though he can feel ki coming at him from behind. He ran into a restaurant to eat before leaving town, and after eating went to the restroom and created a kijbunshin and had it lead out of town going the way he was heading before he stopped to eat. He waited about 5 minutes and hanged before heading out the other way. He had just made it back where he started from when the info from his kijbunshin came to him as it was destroyed. Apparently the Iwa nin does not like him. Naruto smirked and said, "Thank God for pranking," as he looked around and saw that Yugito had already left but Temari as well as the rain nin was still sitting there. He walked by and acted like he was another of the guests who were coming and going from the wedding hall. Soon he saw a man and 2 kids about his age walk up. One looked like he was going to a Halloween party and the teacher was a redhead with a gourd. Naruto watched and saw as Temari joined them before leaving. Something about the redhead bothered him. It was almost the same feeling he got from Yugito. As the crowd started to leave and break apart, Naruto knew he had to move or the man across the way from him would soon get suspicious, so he got up and walked toward the man and said, "Hey buddy, did you come for the party?" The rain nin looked at the guy who was about 20 years old in his opinion and said, "I don't answer idiots." Naruto said, "That's okay, I just wanted to know if it was invitation only or if anyone could enter. My sister is an idiot and kind of put a family heirloom in one of the wedding gifts and I wanted to get it before anyone found it. You wouldn't mind helping me get it? You are a ninja after all and I can pay you," as Naruto glanced around. The rain nin said, "Perhaps, tell me what was lost and how much you're willing to pay and I will let you know." Naruto said, "Well, it's a green necklace that my grandmother left behind that's supposed to be able to buy 3 mountains since it is made or a rare gem. I can pay you $500 if you can go and get it. Unfortunately I don't know which box it's in. All I know is my sister said that it was inside a jewelry box that she gave as a present." The rain nin said, "Sorry, not interested." Naruto said, "Well, thanks anyways. I guess I will have to find someone else to do it or do it myself. Hopefully no one will be guarding the present," as he turned and left. When Naruto walked around the corner he smirked and dropped the henge and changed into his no jutsu form with cloths on and walked back around the corner and saw the rain nin sneaking into the building. Naruto thought, "One thing I know about people is that they are greedy and Naruto saw a group of rain nin heading toward him and he hanged into the man who was inside and walked toward the others. A short man said, "Well, how did it go?" Naruto said, "Some Konoha nin showed up and acted like he owned everything but H is gone now but I think H is probably S since an Iwa nin seemed to think he was the Yondaime." All 3 glanced at each other and Aoi said, "Well come on Andrew," as he turned to leave along with the others. Naruto followed them outside of town for about 10 minutes when all 3 jumped away and threw shurikens and kuniyas at him, forcing Naruto to replace himself with a log. One said, "Oh, who are you and what have you done with our teammate?" Naruto sighed and said, "So how did you know it was me?" Aoi said, "Simple. The fact is that you said Yondaime instead of M since our teammate blames the Yondaime for the death of his brother. The second fact is I called you Andrew when his name is Gant." Naruto dropped the henge and all 3 gasped for a moment thinking he was his father, but then they all prepared to fight. Naruto looked around and saw he was trapped in a triangle attack pattern and quickly created 200 kijunshins to attack. Aoi threw his umbrella into the air and it started to rain needles down onto the clones, destroying them all, and they looked around trying to find Naruto who had vanished. Naruto had replaced himself with a kijbunshin and moved to hide in a hole in front of a tree roots and used his bloodline to grow a bush to cover his spot. He quickly gathered his breath and tried to figure out what to do next. Aoi screamed, "Find him. I want his head but don't kill him, I want answers as well." Naruto smirked and did a few hand signs and had a wood clone come out of the tree he was hiding in from the other side, and the clone said, "Fine, you want answers," as he walked into the clearing only for a kunia to hit him in the leg, making him scream out in pain. One of the rain nins said, "It's him," as he jumped down to capture Naruto. Aoi and the other nin jumped down after he had captured the clone and said, "Okay boy, who are you and what do you want?" The clone said, "I was told to find and follow you and confirm that you still had the Raijin." Aoi reached into a pouch and said, "So you wanted to know if I had this, huh?" as he held it up. Suddenly a vine appeared and his wrist, causing him to drop the sword, and 50 more kijbunshin appeared. Naruto, who was holding the vine, said, "Thanks for returning my family property. as he charged forward. The rain nins had been caught off guard, and when Aoi reached for his umbrella, the wood clone grabbed onto him from the back and wrapped his legs and arms around him, stopping him from unhooking the umbrella as well as from moving his arms. Naruto Kajbunshin were quickly beating the two other nins down as Naruto had dropped his weights before coming out of hiding. Naruto walked over while his clones were fighting and picked up the Raijin and asked, "So how do you use this?" Aoi said, "I would never tell you." Naruto pocketed it and said, "No matter. The name's Naruto Namikaze. Tell my ancestors I got their stuff back," and then placed his hand on the wood clone. Naruto looked and saw the other two men had been beaten by his clones and would not be moving for a while, so he sighed and said, "I hate this," and drew his sword and Saoi head. He then took out a scroll and sealed it into it. Naruto then looked at the mess around the area and had the Kajbunshins clean up all traces of his bloodline before they went up in smoke. Naruto walked away from the mess and Jiraiya appeared and said, "Good job, kid." Naruto was pissed and said, "You could have helped me, Erosanin." Jiraiya said, "True, but if I did that then you would not have learned anything. Besides, I already have my name out in the world but you don't. If people saw me helping you then they won't spread word like they will with just you doing it. He must say I like the trick you did back in town but you forgot to get his name. Also you need to work on your taijutsu." Naruto sighed and said, "So how do I do that?" Jiraiya handed Naruto a scroll and grabbed the one with the head of Aoi as well as the Raijin and said, "That scroll contains your dad's fighting style. You should work at least 2 hours a day on learning the katas. You have a week before your next mission begins, but you need to work on the Rasengan as well as the taijutsu scroll I gave you since you have already learned the earth jutsu I wanted you to learn. Here is also your next mission," as he handed another scroll before summoning a frog and hopping on its back and riding it away. Naruto said, "That's it. If he leaves a different way one more time I'm going to hurt him." Kakashi sighed as he walked into the Hokage office. He was glad that the people of Wave came and helped build the bridge with Gato S. It allowed him to return sooner than expected. He said, "Mission accomplished, sir. The golden green flash bridge is now finished." The third said, "Really? Good job, though I have to know why it was named that." Lee screamed, "It's because Naruto flames of youth burned so brightly that they named it after him and his green chakra and the golden flash he did." The third said, "I see. Anything else happen on the bridge or anything I should know?" Kakashi said, "Yes, I would like Sasuke removed from my team as I have nothing left to teach him since H has awakened his Sharingan and copied the Chidori without my approval." The third said, "And what team would that be?" Kakashi said, "Team 7, sir." The third said, "Kakashi, Sakura is currently apprenticing under Tsunade and Naruto is currently doing solo missions." Kakashi eyes widened and a frog appeared on the third's desk with 3 scrolls and handed it to him. The third opened one that said report on it and said, "I see," so he was able to complete not only the C rank mission but also the B and A rank ones as well. He even recovered the Raijin and Kaoi as well as taken out a member of Atsuki. That good. Tell Jiraiya that I will have a team waiting for Naruto at his next mission to assist him. It's gone from an A rank to S rank but Naruto will be in charge. Everyone was wide-eyed and Sasuke asked, "Why is the Dobe getting higher rank missions and why is he going to be in charge?" The third said, "I don't have to answer you, Uchiha. Kakashi, request approved. I will find someone to teach him some humility or I will send him back to the academy." Sasuke went through some hand signs and started to power the Chidori up and Kakashi was about to stop him when the third shook his head no. When Sasuke charged he was suddenly hit with enough force that it broke his nose and sent him out the door and knocked out. The third said as he sat back down, "Abnu, take Sasuke Uchiha to Ibiki and have him lock him up for a week for attacking me." 2 Abnu appeared and grabbed Sasuke before leaving. Neji asked, "Forgive me for asking Hokage-sama, but does Naruto Uzumaki have a bloodline?" The third said, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze does indeed have a bloodline but all information on it has been labeled as secret by the Namikaze clan." Neji nods and said, "Thank you Hokage-sama." Kakashi was white as a ghost and said, "Namikaze, as in?" The third said, "Yes, H is his son." Lee was confused and said, "Who are the Namikaze clan?" The third said, "It is an S-rank secret of the village that only the Hokage knows for now. Now if that is all I would like to speak with Kakashi privately." Lee and Neji both left and Kakashi asked, "Why did you not tell me Sensei had a son?" The third said, "Simple, if you would have known, what would you have done? If you want to know the whole truth, ask his clan head." Kakashi looked down and asked, "Whose is his clan head?" The third said, "Tsunade. Shush is at her family grounds now, so go talk to her. I'm sure you will find some very useful news. Oh, before I forget, give this to Chuand," as he unsealed the Raijin and handed it to Kakashi. Kakashi nods and leaves in a swirl of leaves. Everyone in Konoha, well, almost everyone, knew where the Shodime's home was. When Kakashi arrived, he saw Sakura and Tenten both panting heavy as they were hanging upside down from a tree with chakra while holding a bucket full of water below their heads with chakra. He was wide-eyed and Tsunade said, "Hello Kakashi, what can I do for you?" Kakashi turned and said, "I came to talk to you about the Namikaze clan." Tsunade said, "Oh, I see. Well, let's go inside. Girls, take a break and come inside," as she turned and started walking inside. Sakura and Tenten both fell and the water soaked them as they fell faster than it did. Kakashi followed inside and saw Shizune and Sakura mom working inside the house, and Zabuza and Haku were both sitting playing a game of Go. Tsunade said, "Take a seat Kakashi." Kakashi glanced around and said, Is it okay to talk here? I mean, it is private." Sakura and Tenten both came in with a towel over their heads and took a seat, and Tsunade said, "Sure. Everyone here knows more than you anyways." Kakashi sighed and said, "First I was told to give this to you," as he pulled out the Raijin, and Tsunade looked at it and said, "Sakura, catch," and tossed it to her as she was wide-eyed. Tsunade asked, "How did you get it? I thought it was stolen." Kakashi said, "It was in a scroll jar I sent. Apparently Naruto got it back." Tenten perked up and asked, "What has Naruto-kun been up to?" Kakashi looked at Tsunade asking if it was alright, and she nodded and said, "Naruto apparently has completed a CBA rank mission so far and has K, the man who took the Raijin, as well as a member of Atsuki." Zabuza asked, "Which one?" as he walked over. Kakashi said, "I don't know. What are you doing here anyways?" Tsunade said, "H is an official bodyguard of the Namikaze clan. Now what did you want Kakashi?" Kakashi asked, "Why was I not told Naruto was a Namikaze, and since when has it become a clan, and what bloodline does he have?" Tsunade said, "Well, as far as no one telling you, it was sort of a secret to everyone that only the third and Minato knew. Not even his wife who gave birth to him knew she had him." Kakashi asked, "How is that possible? Shouldn't she have known that she was no longer with child?" Kushina sighed and said, "Not when you had twins and did not know it, and the nurse who delivered them a little later because of an idiot," as she walked over. Kakashi looked at her and knew it was Sakura mom, but thought about her answer and narrowed his eyes and asked, "Then who is his twin?" Sakura looked around and Tsunade nodded, and she said, "That would be me, Kakashi sensei." Kakashi was wide-eyed and looked at Sakura. He had not one but two of his sensei's kids on his team, and he ignored them both. He felt truly terrible now. Tenten asked, "Do you know anything else about Naruto-kun?" Kakashi said, "No, that was all I heard before Sasuke attacked the Hokage." Tsunade said, "You got your hands full with that one Kakashi." Kakashi said, "No, I don't. I kicked him off of my team after I could not stand him any longer, and he copied my Chidori." Sakura asked, "So what does that mean? I know Naruto, Haku and I are all a team when he gets back. Are you going to be our sensei?" Kakashi sighed and said, "I hope so." Tsunade asked, "Why? So you can fail them as a teacher?" Kakashi winced knowing it was true and said, "No, I was ordered by the council to work mostly with the Uchiha. I saw Naruto and Sakura both try and get him to work as a team and he would not. I would have failed the team the first day with him on it had it not been for the council making it where I was not allowed to." Sakura asked, "What will happen to him now?" Kakashi said, "The third sent him to Ribiki and to be locked up for a week to calm down. After that H is someone else's problem. So would someone explain what's going on? It's all a shock." Over the next hour everyone filled Kakashi in, and now we find him gapping and said, "So Naruto was the main character in that book, and it was with Anko and Kurenai." He stopped laughing when Kushina blasted him with ki enough to make Tsunade flinch and said, "Please don't speak of this again in my presence. I don't like knowing how my son was taken care of." Kakashi nods and said, "I will make sure not to say anything," and thought, "In your presence. I am so blackmailing those two." Kakashi left that night happier than he had been in a long time. The news he was given made him feel great. Inside Konoha prison, Sasuke Uchiha woke up and looked around and said, "What the hell am I doing here?" "Iman Uchiha." A voice from the next cell said, "Shut up, Sasuke. I had enough of you in the academy." Sasuke looked out the cell and saw Mizuki in the next one and he asked, "What the hell are you doing here?" Mizuki said, "They locked me up for trying to kill the Kyuubi brat." Sasuke was confused and Mizuki smirked and said, "So what are you here for?" Sasuke explained how the Dobe was getting special treatment and he was locked up. Mizuki nods and said, "How would you like a chance to get even with the Kyuubi brat as well as get stronger to defeat your brother?" Sasuke said, "Why do you keep calling him the Kyuubi brat?" Mizuki said, "Uzumaki. He has the Kyuubi inside of him. It was sealed in him the day he was born, making him the new Kyuubi. The third passed a law saying we could not tell you so he could live." Sasuke eyes widened and asked, "How can I get stronger?" Mizuki said, "Can you bust me out of here? I can take you to someone who can give you power." Sasuke smirked before he started to do hand signs and soon grabbed his wrist and punched a Chidori through his cell's lock. He was tired after doing it but he left and soon returned with the key and unlocked Mizuki's cell. Mizuki nods and releases all the criminals and both make their escape. Mizuki leads Sasuke out into the forest and quickly knocked out Sasuke and grabbed him and took off toward Sound. He made it about 5 miles outside of the village when a silver-haired ninja appeared in front of him with glasses on and said, "You did well, Mizuki." Mizuki said, "Thank you, Kabutosen, and thank Orochimaru for allowing me another chance to redeem myself." Kabuto nods and said, "Let me check him before we leave," and activated a jutsu that made his hand glow blue. He walked over and hovered him above Sasuke. Kabuto said, "Orochimaru does not take failures, and since you redeemed yourself I let you have a quick death," and grabbed Sasuke and took off toward Sound. The third was awoken the next morning by Abnu, who informed him that all of the prisoners had been set free and Mizuki was found in the woods and the scent of the Uchiha along with another lead away from the village. Things had taken a unique twist. It had been a little over a week since Sasuke left the village and the council was in an uproar. After learning he was gone without a trace and the fact he was locked up made them upset, but once they learned why they could do nothing about it. The village was looking at the last Uchiha with mixed emotions. Rumors of the return of the Yellow Flash also were going wild around the village as news traveled from their ally Suna along with the bounty on Zetsu and retrieval of the Raijin along with the death of Aoi, but the rumors were going from close and accurate to so far-fetched it was funny. The council had tried to find out more but all they were told was that it had to do with the Namikaze clan, which all stated there was no such clan, but the third said there actually is one and has been since the founding of this village, and they even hold a seat on the council but have remained silent and hidden since their numbers were so small. When Hiash informed the council of what Neji told him, they were all shocked and wanted Neji for lying. The third was enjoying seeing them sweat, but sadly all good things had to come to an end. This morning a group of Genin medic nins found Sasuke Uchiha outside the village hurt and passed out, appearing as if he had not ate or taken care of beside what the team could do for him. Also the most startling thing was the fact that Sasuke now had a curse seal. That meant Orochimaru was involved. Soon it had sealed it off since both Jiraiya and Kakashi were out of the village. Kakashi was on a mission in the land of snow with Yamato and Naruto. Now here the third was looking at Sasuke, having been informed that he was awake, and he asked, "Sasuke, tell me what happened." Sasuke sat there a moment and said, "Mizuki, he told me that he knew where my brother was and if I helped him with some Kyuubi brat he would tell me where he was. I did not believe him at first, but when he said that my brother and his partner would be coming for the Kyuubi brat soon, then I believed him, hearing Kakashi and the others talking about it. He said we both could get what we wanted. Use the Kyuubi as bait to bring my brother here, and then I could K him and he could K the Kyuubi, so I used a Chidori on the door and got the key and let him out. He then let the others out and I followed him into the woods and he knocked me out. That's all I remember until I woke up here." The third asked, "Did he tell you who the Kyuubi was?" Sasuke said, "No." The third sighed and said, "Do you know how you got that seal on your N?" Sasuke asked, "What seal?" as he tried to get up but couldn't. The third said, "Well, Sasuke, I'm afraid that you are to be put under house arrest until I can get this mess straightened out. You are not allowed to leave the Uchiha district unless accompanied by a ninja of this village. Sasuke nods and the door opened and Danzo walked in and said, "Not so fast, Sarutobi. I heard what he said and I believe that with what has happened he needs someone to watch over him, so the council has voted that Sasuke will be put under the protection of Root until he can be trusted Ajin." The third narrowed his eyes and took the scroll Danzo had and sighed, knowing he could not do anything because they used the same law he used to keep Naruto out of trouble the night he stole the scroll. He nods and Danzo said, "I will have him train with my men until the exams. At that time he will be evaluated for his loyalty." The third left and made his way back to his office. Tenten sighed as she was walking through the village. She could hear people asking about the Yondime's return as word traveled by the ABNU who brought in the bandits and the missing Nin as well as other sources, and she could not believe they were so much of an idiot. Naruto had only been doing missions for 2 weeks and word has spread fast. Tsunade actually laughed when she heard some of the things that were said. Tenten had been training with her team every day and then working at her family shop every other day with her dad. The days she was not there she was at the Namika's residence and has been learning water jutsu as well other things. Sakura for her part was tired both mentally and physically. For the past 2 weeks since Naruto had left she had been training since before sunrise to well after dark. She would get 3/5 minute breaks a day not including lunch and it was taking a toll on her. Ever since she got the Raijin, Zabuza had been teaching her Kenjutsu and Water Jutsu. Haku had been teaching her pressure points and how to use Senbons. Tsunade and Shizune had been teaching her endurance, and the beginning of Tsunade's strength. Kushina for her part had been running battle scenarios after dinner for a few hours, also helping Sakura come up with ideas as to how and when to attack. Naruto sighed as he was hanging in a prison cell. He had acted on impulse and this is what happened. Flashback. Naruto had just outrun the train after finding Yuki Ajin, and now as he watched logs started rolling toward the train. He saw Kakashi and Yamato had both disappeared and who knew where Jiraiya was, so he waited when the side of the train opened and he saw the men charging for it, and Naruto saw the first rounds of Kunia shoot out of the train, and acting on impulse he became pissed and in his anger made the logs turn into a wall in front of the cannons blocking the Kunia, but during that moment he was suddenly caught off guard when Yuki screamed. Naruto turned and saw her being pulled away by an arm wench, and still pissed he made his bloodline grab Yuki, pulling the man off the airship, and Naruto charged the man. Just as he was about to hit him, the girl his team had encountered earlier came flying down and knocked him out and grabbed him as the other man grabbed Yuki, and both left right when the train was leaving when its tracks exploded out from underneath it. End flashback. Naruto glanced at Yuki and said, "You know that we're going to get out of here, right?" Yuki snorted and said, "How can you be so sure about that?" Naruto dissolved into a pile of wood and another Naruto walked into view and said, "Because I never actually got captured." "Come on." As he unlocked the door and released her. Yuki asked, "How did you get away?" Naruto said, "Remember when I pulled the guy off the airship?" Yuki nodded and Naruto said, "I used my bloodline to create a wood clone and replaced myself and had it act as me while I followed. I got the idea a week ago when I was recovering a stolen item." They both took off toward the way Naruto had came from and soon ran into Kakashi and Yamato and followed Yuki into the room her uncle was. After she did the whole I'm an actress thing, her uncle said, "Is that the best any of you can do? It's time for me to show you that you can't stop me." And the roof shattered and pieces started to fall and Kakashi and Yamato moved out of the way, but Naruto smirked, causing both to look at him. Soon Yuki uncle started flying out of the room and Naruto said, "Gotcha," and went through a few hand signs and said, "Wood style, birth of the dense forest, dragons run no jutsu," and suddenly all the wood burst into new trees growing, but they mingled together and formed what looked like a dragon, and the end of it formed the head, and it opened its mouth and grabbed her uncle and him into the wall, and because of the force the fuel lines in his jetpack busted and caught on fire and burned him alive. As the wood slowly caught on fire, Kakashi went to check on Yuki and Yamato asked, "What was that, Naruto?" Naruto said, "A jutsu I created on accident. After I learned about what happens with my bloodline, I decided to go back over what I knew and I changed the last hand sign from Inu to Hebi, and then this is the result. It makes it where I can control where it would go like it would normally, but instead of a lot of random wood branches I only have one large trunk to control." Yamato nods and said, "That's pretty cool, Naruto." Naruto walked over to where Yuki was and Kakashi said, "She is okay. Just a little tired." Naruto nods and asks, "Hey Kakashi, do you know where that snow glacier he was talking about earlier is?" Kakashi thought and said, "Yeah, why?" Naruto walked up the dragon's back and grabbed the jewel out of the corpse's hand and said, "I think we should see what it was that he was going on about. I don't want to see the people suffer any more than they have." Kakashi nods and Yuki stirs. He sighs and leaves in a swirl of leaves with Naruto being brought by Yamato. Time skip. 2 guards stood at the gates of Konoha when a lone figure came walking toward the gates. At first glance he looked like a mirage, but the closer he got the more the men could see. The figure was nearly 6 feet tall and had a mask across his entire face. He had a pair of black pants with a blue shirt on and a sword on his left side and a green ninja vest along with a long white cloak on his back. The figure stopped in front of the 2 guards and said, "Namika's returning from 4-month training mission," as he walked through the gates as both guards had passed out. Naruto walked through the village and ignored the looks everyone was giving him. He soon made it to the Hokage Tower and entered. When he got inside the office he saw Jiraiya sitting in a chair and the third gapping at him. Naruto asked, "What's up, old man?" The third blinked and asked, "Naruto, what the hell happened to you?" Naruto smirked and pulled off his face mask and said, "Not a word." The third could only nod and said, "Well, the exams start tomorrow and your family and fiancé would like to see you." Naruto said, "Actually, do you mind if I crash at your place tonight? I want to surprise them at the exams and I actually want to sleep instead of playing 20 questions." The third nods and Naruto leaves by bursting into flowers and the third asked, "What the hell happened to him, Jiraiya?" Jiraiya said, "Well, the next day when Sakura walked into the room where the first exams were to be taken she had a bad feeling. Naruto had not shown up yet. Of course she heard the rumors the day before that he was here, but like all other rumors no one could confirm it. As she walked in, Haku was beside her and they walked over to where Tenten was sitting with her team and asked, "Have you seen him?" Tenten looked down and shook her head sadly and Sakura said, "Don't worry, he will be here or I will kick his ass." The door to the room burst open and everyone looked and Sasuke walked in along with a boy with black hair and black eyes and another boy who looked like he was stoned as his eyes seemed to be as cold as possible. Sasuke smirked and Ino jumped up and screamed, "Sasuke-kun, I knew you did not betray the village," and Sakura winced. Even after all this time she had never bothered to once look Ino up since she found out about her brother. Team 8 walked up toward Ino and her team that had gathered around Sasuke team and said, "Man, I guess the best really are here, huh Sasuke?" As he put his hand on Sasuke's shoulder which Sasuke grabbed and twisted and a sickening crunch was heard making everyone wince. Sasuke said, "You are beneath me much, so stay on the ground where you belong." A single clap could be heard slowly coming from somewhere in the room and everyone turned to look where the clap was coming from and Sakura and Tenten both got wide-eyed as the man sitting there had the same outfit as Naruto had when he left except for the face mask which had no eye holes and a picture of a bonsai plant on the front of it and the person said, "So Sasuke-chan, picking on a puppy makes you feel big and bad. I guess it's all you can feel since your nuts never dropped." Sasuke grunted and said, "Who the hell are you and how dare you insult me? I'm an Uchiha." The man hanged for a moment into Itachi and said, "I am an Uchiha," and changed back making several people snicker. The man stood up and everyone backed away because he had a feeling of power coming off of him and he said, "I suppose I could answer that in a single word but instead I think I will show you." As the man reached up and grabbed his mask and slowly pulled it off and everyone gasped as it looked just like the Yondaime. Tenten gasped, "Naruto-kun," in a whisper. Naruto smiled and said, "Hello Tenshin." Sakura looked at Naruto and hugged him and said, "It's about time you got back. Do you have any idea how worried Mom has been?" Naruto smiled and said, "I missed you also Sakura." Naruto said, "So have you two been dating Haku?" Haku smirked and said, "Yeah, but we are not as far as you are." Naruto nods and said, "Man, it's great to be back." A silver-haired genin with glasses walked up and said, "You all should quiet down. You're making everyone look at you." Naruto smirked and said, "Really? Then this should help." As he did a few hand signs and said, "Woodsley." Birth of the Dense no Jutsu. As suddenly all the Rookie 9 and Guy's team were raised off the ground by a 3-foot-tall stage lifted making it look like they were about to put on a concert. Naruto said, "Can you see me now?" "Good." As he burst out laughing and made everyone sweet drop. He then stiffened and looked around the room and thought, "Well, this is a surprise. 4 Jinchurikis all in the same room." Somebody wants to make a statement in these exams. Sakura walked over and held Kiba's hand and he said, thanks. Just then a lot of people appeared in puffs of smoke and Naruto said, finally, I thought I was going to have to start the third great shinobi war before you got here. As he walked toward the edge of the stairs and steps formed allowing him to walk off. Ibiki regained his composure and said, now everyone settle down. We have had enough delay already. The first part of the exams will begin now. I am your instructor Ibiki and I want you all to draw a number and find the seat that matches that number and we can start. Everyone soon began drawing numbers and taking seats and Naruto found himself in the back left corner of the room and he was surprised to see that he was surrounded by a group of rain nin. Ibiki explained the rules and Naruto sighed before he held up his hand and started gathering chakra in it and soon a swishing noise filled the room getting everyone's attention and he see off the part of the test that had his name and then held the rest up before dropping it into the Rasengan and everyone sweet dropped before he said, the test is bogus and the only answer you need are the ones you face on a mission. Do you take it or not? I must say if I ever decide to quit being a ninja I can get a great job as a paper shredder with the Rasengan. Sasuke who had his Sharingan activated was pissed he could not copy that jutsu. Ibiki said, you either got a hug set of balls or a really small brain to do that. Naruto said, well I could ask for an opinion on the size of my balls but the only 3 women to ever see them are either not here or taking the test. Tenten turned beet red at this and tried to invent a new disappearance jutsu right on the spot. Ibiki said, well we will see at the end of the test how smart or stupid you are, and thought, I really like this kid. First he KAOI and now he stands up to me in my own subject. Let's see if he buckles. Across town in the Hokage Tower Kakashi was sitting on a chair reading his book when Kurenai asked, so how do you think the test is going? Kakashi said, well I know my team is doing good. Naruto back. Kurenai asked, so does that mean that we get to finally see what this secret training he had to do is? Kakashi said, perhaps, it won't be as big a secret as what happened on his birthday last year though, as he flipped another page in his book. Kurenai blushed a moment and asked, what happened? Asuma asked, yes, I was wondering that myself. Kakashi looked up from his book and said, well it turns out Jiraiya-sama was in town that day and he followed Naruto the whole day and put the events in his book. Here, want to read? I brought you both a copy, as he pulled out 2 copies of volume Naruto is in. Kurenai said, I don't read that trash, as she looked away. Kakashi said, really, I though you might like to read it since Anko in it. Kurenai said, why would I care? Asuma was curious so he started to reach for the book when Kurenai jumped across the table and locked lips with him and Kakashi smiled as he said, and the voluptuous red-eye princess slowly took the blonde street trash into her inner. Kurenai held Akunya at his pride and joy as she broke the K and Asuma said, now, what's wrong with you Kurenai? You act like you're trying to protect someone. Kakashi sweet dropped and said, well who's the instructor for the first exam anyways? Asuma said, Ibiki. Kakashi laughed hard at that causing both the others to look at him and he said, Naruto will pass even if Ibiki has to cheat for him. Naruto took out AOI. Asuma's eyes were wide and Kurenai asked, who's that and why would Ibiki act like that? Asuma asked, have you ever seen Ibiki head? All the scars he has on him was done by a former Konoha nin named AOI. Ibiki resisted all the torture and nearly being burned alive but lived. Kurenai said, I had no idea. Kakashi said, not many do but like I said, Naruto got him so that's over. Kurenai asked, what about your other students? Kakashi said, well Sakura is so smart it's scary and Haku bloodline is unique so nothing to worry about. In the test room Sakura had taken the test and Haku had used his bloodline to first write all the wrong answers and then replace his test with that of someone who did it right. When the test was over Ibiki said, for all those who remain, you all pass. Naruto smirked and said, told you. He then tensed and the window shattered and Anko appeared and sang, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday dear Gaki, happy birthday to you. Anko smirked and said, if anyone wants my phone number asked and Naruto-kun, is your stamina ready for another challenge? Naruto s his head into the desk and Tenten schemed, leave him alone. Anko said, sure kid, when you lose your cherry to him I will listen to you. Until then, H is free and open property. Anyways I'm Anko and your next examiner. Meet me at area 44 in 30 minutes, and left in a swirl of leaves. Naruto snorts and walks over to Tenten and hugs her and said, "Don't listen to her. You are the love of my life. Nothing will change that." And he kissed her. Sakura smiled and Neji said, "We must be going," and turned to leave with Lee, and Tenten broke the K and followed him. Naruto stayed back as everyone was leaving, and Naruto said, "Haku, Sakura-kun, listen to me. If I tell you to run from an enemy in this test, don't question me. There are 3 other Jinchurikis in the exams. I know one and I can sense the other 2, and I can tell you with the amount of demon chakra coming off of them they're dangerous." Sakura asked, "What about you?" Naruto said, "I will stall long enough and then get out of there myself. So are you both ready?" Both nod and he grabs both and they all 3 burst into a pile of flowers and appeared moments later, shocking a few of the speed demons. Soon everyone else arrived and Sasuke narrowed his eyes as Naruto had made it to the grounds before him. Anko said, "Okay, the rules are simple. Each team will get a heaven or earth scroll and then they must make it to the tower with a complete set. You cannot open the scrolls before you get into the tower. Anything goes. Now will everyone sign these? They say that if US in the exams then Konoha is not responsible. You have 30 minutes," and started passing them out. Naruto said, "I got to take a leak," and walks away. A few minutes later he comes back and sits down and said, "I wonder what these exams will be like." Just then Konohamaru and his 2 friends walked up and stepped up to teammate and said, "Hey, we're doing a report for class on the Chunin exams and I was wondering if I could ask a few questions." Hinata said, "Sure." Konohamaru asked, "Okay, how many times have you taken this test?" Kiba said, "Our first." Konohamaru asked, "What do you have to do to get past this part of the test?" Hinata said, "We have to get a scroll to make a complete set." Konohamaru asked, "Okay, which do you need and can I see it?" Hinata pulled it out and showed it was a heaven. Naruto asked Sakura, "Which one do we have?" Sakura whispered, "Heaven." Konohamaru and his friends then went to a rain inn and asked the same question and so on and so forth, but never asked Naruto team. They left a few minutes later and Naruto groaned and said, "Damn sour milk," and got up and ran to use the bathroom again. He walked over and hugged Tenten and whispered in her ear and put a kunai in her weapon pouch and said, "I love you and remember what I said." Tenten nods and goes back to her team. Anko said, "Okay, everyone get to your gates." Naruto and his team soon made it to their gates, and then when they opened he grabbed both of his teammates and burst into flowers appearing in front of the tower, and Sakura asked, "Naruto, what are you doing?" Naruto smirked and said, "Simple, we got both scrolls. Now hold on a minute and I will be back," and disappeared in a yellow flash and soon returned with Team Guy as they burst back into view in a pile of flowers. Neji asked, "What's going on?" Naruto smirked and said, "Remember Konohamaru asking everyone about their scrolls? That was not Konohamaru but a set of wood clone with hinges and several kajbunshions that hanged into scrolls, and I had it steal 2 sets of scrolls for our teams, so no matter which scrolls we had we would both pass. Tenten already has your scroll as I gave it to her as a hanged Hiraishin kunai. Now we have 5 days to rest and 4 teams are out of the test but none are leaf teams." And walked inside the door, and Team Guy walked in another one a few moments later and both summoned Kakashi and Guy, who was smiling, and said, 7 minutes. You completed the test in 7 minutes. Good job teams. Now I could give some boring speech but who cares. You got 5 days and you can't leave the tower, so have fun and rest. Oh, and Tenten, don't get too worked up. Naruto said, "Damn L." Kakashi smiled as he reappeared in the ninja lounge after he got back, and Kurenai asked, "What happened and why did you and Guy disappear like that?" Kakashi said, "My team and his both passed already," getting wide-eyed looks from Asuma and Kurenai. Naruto sighed after Kakashi was gone with Guy and said, "Well, how is everyone doing and what have I missed?" Neji went to find a room to rest and Lee went to work on his flames of youth in the training rooms. Naruto asked, "What's up with them?" Tenten sighed and said, "Neji is always like that, and Lee, after finding out you had as much weight as him on in Wave, has increased his training to catch up. Since you're back, H is going to do everything he can for the next few days to get ready in case he gets to fight you." Sakura said, "Sasuke tried and attacked the Hokage and then was sent to jail, but he escaped and everyone said he left the village, but one day about a week later he came back only to get grabbed by Root. He also has something called a cursor seal and soon it sealed it off. Tenten and I have trained harder than we thought possible and even created a few new jutsu. Haku and I started to date solidly about a month after you left and H has been taking care of me. Zabuza taught me and Tenten both missed jutsu and I got some sword skills also. Futter about you. Naruto sighed and said, remember my fight with Erozanen on the way back from Wave. Turns out if I fight with my bloodline like that I kill all the plants in about a 20-yard radius of me, so I had to invent a new way to fight with it, though I should surprise many with it. I have also created about 15 new jutsu, either by changing existing ones or straight out creating one, but they will be real shockers. I had to Ajin. Tenten said, but you came back to me. Naruto held up his hand and showed he had 2 rings on, and Haku asked, how did you get those? Naruto sighed and said, I ran into 2 Atasuki members. One is a missing grass nin named Zetsu and the other was a missing Suna nin named Sasori. Luckily both got K with help from my bloodline. Tenten sighed and said, well, what should we do now? Naruto said, truthfully I'm a little tired. Can we get a room and get some sleep? Tenten nods and said, I will go find my team's room then. Naruto grabbed her hand, stopping her, and said, actually, I want to sleep like we did before I left. Tenten blushed but nodded and followed Haku and Sakura to a room. They found Team 7 room and with a little help from Naruto bloodline created a privacy wall and all took showers and soon got some sleep. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.